Howdy, folks. Really long time no see. I'm through making apologies for it. I'm a very busy guy. I've got a lot of irons in the pot, and I hadn't had much time to be making making TikToks, let alone to be on here viewing them. But I am going to make this one because this is something that's very interesting to me. I will freely admit up front, so this is more for the weapons techie people, for the aviation enthusiasts, and for the hardcore Ukrainian supporters. So, some of you know, some of my followers know, that I do a series of a daily Substack article on the latest news from the war in Ukraine. I also do research and analysis for the Ukrainian War podcast. So, in my duties doing all of that, some days ago, I discovered an interesting tidbit of information. The head of the Ukrainian Air Force was talking about plans for his Air Force and aircraft that they would like to require, that are priorities for them to acquire, I should say. And of course, the F-16 is in there, and several others. But amongst that mix of priorities that the Ukrainian Air Force would like to acquire was a very specific model of the French Mirage 2000, the 2000D. And the 2000D, pictured above in this picture, is a very specialized version of the Mirage. It's a two-seat version, and it's basically designed as a missile carrier, or one could say a long-range bomber, either or. So this would be to complement and to improve on the abilities that Ukraine already has in its air force, which for the most part is right now is the Sukhoi Su-27, which is a pretty old aircraft, and adapting modern Western weapons to that platform is not an easy task. So, that was the first thing. That was over the weekend. On Tuesday, I think it was, President Macron of France made a number of announcements. It seems that the French government has finally woken up to the danger that that Russia is to all the world's democracies, really, and is going to pull its finger out, figuratively. He announced firstly that France will immediately be supplying Ukraine with 40 Scalp cruise missiles, which are very similar to they're almost identical to the Storm Shadow that the UK provides, and France has provided these aircraft these weapons before. Now, the interesting thing about the Scalp is that there's nothing different about it from the Storm Shadow, other than, as I understand, the avionics, which gives it a slightly longer range. So it's very much of use to the Ukrainians. So this is great news, right? But he also announced that they were going to be providing some bombs, and he of course was not specific. So speculation began immediately on what sort of bombs they would be, and in the article that I wrote, quoting several sources, we thought it was very likely that it was going to be this AASM Hammer, which is basically just a regular bomb. but the nose cap here will turn it into a smart bomb, much as the American glide bombs or the Russian ones are supposed to do. But the other interesting thing about it is that the tail section is a solid rocket motor. So these are rocket propelled glide bombs, and they have a range of up to 70 kilometers. So these are designed to be used as a precision standoff weapon. Now, what is uniquely designed to make use of these weapons? The Mirage 2000D. Now, in the French Air Force, they mostly moved on to the Rafale, which is an even more modern French aircraft. But this is basically the job profile of the Mirage 2000D. Now, so part of the reason I'm making this video is to crow that already 50% of my speculation has turned out to be true. I suspect whether they actually get them is another question. But Ukraine is very interested in acquiring these aircraft to use with weapons like the Scalp and this Hammer. And it shows to me that Ukraine is transitioning to the possibility in this year, 2024, of air superiority in the war in Ukraine, which would make a huge difference. Anyhow, that's why I'm making this video. The Hammers are coming. I have a sneaking suspicion so will the Mirage 2000Ds. Anyhow, Slava Ukraini.